Welcome to ReVoicing the Future, a Women of NAMM podcast, presented by AKG. Just as one revoices a chord, ReVoicing the Future creates a completely new perspective on the invaluable notes that make up the whole. It will uplift women's voices in the music products industry, which have earned their time to be the root of the chord. Once a month, you can catch productive and valuable conversations with women working in manufacturing, retail, the nonprofit sector, music education, touring, and overall women who inspire us. Together, we can help shape the future of our industry, one interval at a time. This podcast is co-produced and edited by Natalie Morrison, Stephanie Lamond, and Julia Olson. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to ReVoicing the Future. I'm your host, Natalie Morrison. Thank you for tuning in as always. Happy holidays, everyone. We've made it. It's December. It's the last episode of 2023. Can you believe that? I cannot believe that. So much so that it is taking me, I think this is take number 5 of doing this introduction. I've been doing this podcast for 3.5 years now. And when I do solo introductions, it takes me so many tries to record the introduction the way that I like it. So I'm really hoping that if you're listening to this, that I've done it. Anyway, happy holidays. Again, it's the last episode of the year. I can't believe that 3.5 years, it's another reflection of the year that has come and gone. It's wild. It's truly wild to think about. So, on behalf of myself, Stephanie, and Julia, thank you all so much for your continued support and listenership for ReVoicing the Future. I want to thank all the women who we had the honor to interview this year. We are so grateful to each and every one of you for telling your story and sharing your wisdom with our audience. And we're really excited for what 2024 has in store. So here's to another fantastic year. And just thank you again for supporting us. And we're just so grateful and honored that we get to do this. So thank you, thank you, thank you. In the spirit of being excited for all things to come in the new year, I'm so excited to talk about the fact that January 2024 marks the return of a January winter NAMM show. We're back, which is really also kind of scary to think about because in 2 months we will be at the NAMM show. So that's wild. I guess by the time you're actually listening to this, it'll be a month and a half away. But as I'm currently recording this, it's 2 months away. And that is stressing me out a little bit. I'm not going to lie. However, I'm so excited to talk to you all about some key events that you're going to want to put on your calendar. So, if you are not registered for the NAMM show yet or on the fence of registering for the NAMM show, please do so. It's going to be so worth your while. And I have some events to talk to you about. And these are just 3 of the hundreds of opportunities that you will be able to connect and grow and learn from others and just be at the center of the industry. So, it's all really exciting stuff. Now, get out those calendars because on Thursday, January 25th at 10 a.m. in the NAMM Member Center is the Women of NAMM First Time Attendee Meetup. So come and meet. If you've never been to the NAMM Show, this is just a 30-minute event to get you acclimated, to help you meet other people so that you can leave and start your show on the right foot. And then you can ultimately have a really successful show because it is overwhelming. I'm not going to lie. Your first NAMM show, it's going to be like, what am I doing? That's what your brain's going to do. So Women of NAMM wanted to provide a resource to make that a little less daunting for those attending. So 10 a.m. Thursday, January 25th at the NAMM Member Center. Mark it down. The next event that you should mark in your calendar is Friday, January 26th at 11 a.m. in the NAMM Member Center is ReVoicing the Future's session, creating sustainable careers through community. Yes, we are hosting another session this year, and we're so excited because last year, Stephanie and Julia and I, we challenged attendees to look inward at the ladders of our careers and what we're climbing, how we climb them, and to ensure that they're the most authentic paths for us. That's basically what we did. It was very much an inward exercise. So this year, we're looking outward to those around us, and we'll explore the vital importance of community in creating sustainable and effective careers for women in music, share tips for building and maintaining them, and break into a session where attendees will have the opportunity to build their own communities within their respective corners of the industry. So you will leave with practical tips to build and foster communities and new allies to get started. It's exciting. It's awesome. Again, it's a part 2 to our conversation back in April at the NAMM Show. So we want to keep this idea of internal reflection and external action reflection kind of going. So get excited and mark your calendars. Friday, January 26th at 11 a.m. in the NAMM Member Center. You don't want to miss it. Finally, on that same day, Friday, January 26th at 6 p.m. in the Hilton is the annual Women of NAMM event. So come one, come all. It is the Women of NAMM event of the year. So do not miss out on this. It's going to be really fun, and there are going to be more details to come on all what to expect. So those are 3 dates. Thursday, January 25th at 10 a.m. is the Women of NAMM first attendee meetup. Friday, January 26th at 11 a.m. is the ReVoicing the Future Creating Sustainable Careers Through Community session. And then Friday at 6 p.m. in the Hilton is the annual Women of NAMM event. So we can't wait to see you there. Now, I think I finally crossed off those housekeeping items off of my list, and we can talk about this month's episode. I'm so excited to bring you an interview and conversation with myself and Stephanie and Kelly Riordan. She is the co-founder of Outside the Bachs, a program designed to support musicians in creating their own private music studios and delivering the highest quality education to their students. Her passion for music education is present not only in her studio, but in her support of 3,000 plus students in studios around the world. Kelly basically created this business during COVID. And she also has her own passion project podcast called Outside the Bachs, where she talks to people in the music education space and learns about their careers and how they got to where they got to. And she's just awesome. We had a beautifully wonderful, informative conversation, and I'm just really excited for you all to hear it. And I don't want to give too much away because we dive into a lot of really awesome topics, and I think it's going to be worth your while. So sit back, relax, grab a drink, get cozy, and enjoy. And then from all of us at ReVoicing the Future, we wish you a happy, healthy, and safe holiday season. And we can't wait to see you at the NAMM Show in January. Woohoo! See you later. Hi, Kelly. Thank you so much for joining ReVoicing the Future. We're thrilled to have you on the podcast.
Oh, I'm so thrilled to be here. Thank you. I've been looking forward to this. When you DM'd me on Instagram, I was stoked. Like, day made. This is going to be awesome.
We're so thrilled to have you. And
Thank you.
as we start every episode, walk us through your journey. Like, who are you? What do you do? Where are you now? How did you get into music? All that stuff.
Oh, man. Well, okay. How did I get into music? If I take it like way, way back to day one, I started playing piano when I was, I think, ages like 4 or 5. I was really young. My family was decently musical. I wouldn't say my parents like were musical themselves. They were music appreciators for sure. But my mom's side of the family, every grandchild, I was one of 10, was expected to play something. So we all started piano when we were young. I think around 8 years old, I wanted to play French horn because my grandma actually played French horn and I wanted to be just like her. So I called her one day on the phone, like so excited. And I think maybe my school had gone to the symphony or something. So I was just like extra jazzed. And like, I'm going to play French horn too. And she's like, oh, that's so sweet. Well, you're awfully small. Why don't we start with a smaller instrument first? So she suggested clarinet. And I was a tiny child. So that was a fair bit of feedback.
Like, do they not scale them?
No,
really?
It's not like a violin where you can get like the quarter.
I was saying I saw a violin that
Right.
was like 5 inches tall the other day.
They're so cute. Okay, and I will say that they are making some now. Like those, even like the little nouveau clarinets are so adorable.
The industry's caught up with
Yes.
tiny French.
But my teeny tiny little hands could barely even reach all the keys on the clarinet at that time. So it was a stretch for sure.
That's so cute.
So my mom went out to the local music store, Heartland Music, out in Heartland, Wisconsin. and picked up my first like rental Vito LeBlanc plastic clarinet and some VHS tapes. And I sat in the basement for like 3 weeks every day after school just playing. And then, of course, I had to get lessons because I was stoked. Oh, yeah.
A VHS tape? Wow.
Dating myself a little bit. Yeah. I mean, like this was, kind of like the tail end of VHS tapes, I guess I have to say, to like ground myself in reality a little bit. I'm not that ancient. Yeah, it was awesome. Like my parents just plopped me down there in front of a reclining chair in our basement and put the VHS tapes on and just left me. I think I sat down there for probably like 2 or 3 hours at a time trying to figure it out myself. And I think probably around Christmas time that year, my mom was like, okay, it's time for lessons. Like we're hitting some roadblocks and the squeaking is not necessarily
wind
improving.
instruments are ones where the people around you are often the ones that are like, get lessons, please.
Yeah. So that was necessary. But I had a wonderful first clarinet teacher. I mean, I studied with Val for 8 or 9 years.
Oh, wow. Oh,
Yeah.
that's magical.
She was spectacular. And by the time I got into high school, I would babysit her kids. And then we kind of did like a little exchange sometimes for extra lessons during busy seasons because she and her husband also owned a printing company. So I would go over and have a lesson for an hour or two. I would eat dinner with their family, and then I would babysit the kids and put them to bed. And she and her husband would go into the print shop and work a little bit. And
oh my gosh.
that was a really nice setup too. So it was awesome. And then I eventually had to go get a job back at Heartland Music to pay for my lessons by the time I moved on to another teacher.
I think that's beautiful though, because I know so many stories similar to that with music educators specifically, where you just build this bond with them that kind of transforms into other forms of a relationship. And it's a beautiful thing. It just shows the impact that a music educator has.
It's so special.
It really is. It's so unique. I mean, even my like high school band directors, my high school band directors are great friends of mine too. Like it's nice to have those connections long term. They really do make a lasting impact, musician or not. I think that's universally true.
Oh yeah.
It just makes me think these are like folk skills, like things that we all pass down. They're so human. And so it's also wonderful to get those bonds with your teachers because at that point, you're kind of in that lineage of learning, right? Like their teacher, then them, then you. Like it's this wonderful passing down of this really lovely art form that we do. And when you get close, it feels like this is a tradition that you're part of. It's the collective whole, right? Which is, I feel like, so tied to the rest of your work too. But that's a lovely kind of subconscious tie-in that I don't think I've ever made before about music and learning music all together.
Well, and it's interesting too, because when I look back at my teachers, and obviously, at this point in my life, I've had a lot of teachers. I had Val for such a long time, and we're still close. I mean, I see her, I'd say maybe once or twice a year, I get to see her. And recently, one of my students needed a new instrument. So my first person that I message is her to see if she has anyone selling anything so we can kind of swap things back and forth in the studios. And I mean, she's a great resource and a great help and a huge source of encouragement in my life, which is awesome. But when I look back at that relationship, I've also had the opposite. I think most musicians can say this too, where we've had relationships that maybe haven't been as positive in that like one-on-one setting. And it makes you very thankful for those teachers who, I'm not saying that positive or not, people don't care about their work. That's definitely not true. But sometimes you just really, really vibe with a person and they can be so impactful in your life. And other times, maybe not as much. And that's okay too. Like, I think it's important to know that. But a lot of times when you're young and you're trying to find an instructor on your own, you just don't know what you need. So you learn a little bit. But for those that are so positive, impactful, it's huge.
Or that there's more out there too, right? Yeah, that you can advocate for yourself and that you can shop around for the right music teacher for you. There's so many people you talk to that stopped making music because they had a bad teacher or a bad teacher relationship and they thought that's just what it's like. So that's such a good point.
But that's also like a double-edged sword at the same time because those bad teachers, quote unquote, also deter people from continuing on in music.
Yeah,
so
it's the relationship. From my experience too, there was probably some piano learning child that would have thrived under the scales and the very like regimented stuff that one teacher that I'm thinking of that I had that turned me off from lessons for a long time did for me, right? But I was not that kid. And so you got to know that's just part of also finding the right, like you said, it's just the relationship rather than that they're a bad teacher or not. They're in the lineage they're in of teaching. So you find the one that fits with you. Wow. I love all of this.
Yeah. Counting my mistakes was not the most helpful version of teaching for me. That was not encouraging or maybe a strategy that I responded well to.
Yikes.
Had a little bit of that. Yeah.
I was part of the Suzuki method with the viola, and that was no, that's not for me. I learned that very quickly.
Well, and it's funny, like I now teach and I have for a long time, and that definitely influences my teaching style. My teaching style is very like, we are community, we are friends. I mean, obviously, I'm not friends with my students, but I know a lot about their lives because the more context I have, the more I can relate it back to their life and make sure that how I'm teaching them is relevant. But for the period of time that we're together, however long that is, I really want to make sure that we are using music as this safe space and tool to practice other life skills like executive functioning and communication and public speaking and confidence and being in front of other people, things that music did for me growing up. I want to make sure that they have those same opportunities and frame of reference. I mean, as one quick example, I have a student that graduated a few years ago now, but she had a lot of anxiety, and I really like working with those students because the students we tend to work with best definitely reflect our past selves in a lot of ways.
Oh, yeah.
So that was helpful. But she was using music and practicing, even very high achieving academic student. She would practice at 3:00 in the morning when she couldn't sleep because her anxiety was so bad. So her parents like soundproofed part of the basement so she could go down there and just play and like get it all out and just express
Wow.
herself in some way. And I mean, extreme example, and like, I don't want to encourage her to play instead of sleeping. That was not the conversation we were having. But if that's what you want to do, I just want her to have repertoire that like she could pick up and play comfortably and confidently and feel connected to if that was where we were going with it. And you have to find those
Yeah.
connection points. If I didn't know that about her, we weren't talking about that with her, she probably would not have continued post high school into playing. And she's still playing in university right now. So
I love that.
What a powerful tool.
I just want to rewind a second because
Yeah.
if people can't deduct, you are a music teacher. That's fair.
Yeah,
We
I guess
know
we never really
that.
got that far, did we?
So what else do you do outside of that at this point? Who's Kelly? Who's
Wow,
Kelly?
yeah, we're getting in the weeds already.
I love it. Though.
Hey,
I
I'm
love it.
Kelly. Back to the beginning. Yeah, so my degrees are all in classical clarinet performance and literature. So after high school, I went to the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee and did my bachelor's of music there. And then I went to the University of Georgia and did my master's of music there with Theodore McClellan, Todd Levy at Milwaukee. Both were in the same studio at Juilliard. That's how I ended up there. Like they knew each other really well and it was all referrals. After that, I came back to Wisconsin. Lucky me, it was like 5-6 months before COVID. And built a whole studio. Within about 2.5 to 3 months in that range, I had 43 students. And that was a full-time income and workload for me. That was about 26 hours of teaching per week.
Wow.
Wow. I was
Can't see Natalie's face, but
I'm
her
sorry,
jaw
wait.
dropped.
43 students like right off the bat like that. How did you do that?
Oh my gosh. So fun fact, when I was in undergrad and graduate school, I was paying for my music degrees by working in marketing. So I was picking up jobs on the side. I
Smart.
had a pretty regular gig for a while with Red Bull and with Anheuser-Busch and with American Express.
Nice.
And then I also did some work for like Cadillac. Anyway, long story short, that was my summer work. And then also a lot of the times on the weekends or on the evenings when I wasn't playing and teaching in school, that was how I was making my money and surviving. So I had a lot of marketing background. Like all of that marketing work was in organic marketing, like event-based marketing, like local, we call them like activations, going on site. So if anyone's a musician, you have no idea what I'm talking about. Like going into an event or going into a location and creating an event or creating some kind of opportunity to get the brand in front of people that either might be familiar but want a reminder, or the brand wants to remind them, or may not be familiar at all either. So that was kind of my strategy. And by kind of, I mean, that was absolutely my strategy when I relocated, was how can I just get my name in front of as many people as possible? So I was going into school programs and volunteering. I was teaching the music badge for Girl Scout groups and Boy Scout troops. And
So smart.
That's so smart.
I was working with homeschool co-ops in the area, and I was reaching out to local music stores. I mean, anywhere that I could possibly think of, dance studio, art classes, it did not matter. I would send them an email or 5 and see if I could get in contact with them. And it took off really quickly as a result, which was amazing. I mean, I feel very, very blessed by that. Obviously, COVID happened a few months later. So short version, I was helping friends who were performing and no longer could perform to also start teaching in studios and finding students. And then it just kind of took off from there. People were calling me that I'd never met before. So I do still teach, is kind of the summary of all of that. But I also help musicians to build their private music lesson studios and market their businesses, whether it's just them or they have a whole team of instructors that are working with them. That's the gig these days.
I love that. That's amazing.
Thank
and
you.
a much needed one, because it's really hard to build
It is.
a studio for yourself. And I've
It is.
watched so many people do that, and it's a craft.
Mm. Especially when you go to music school and they don't teach the marketing skills. I mean, I got flack for working in general, but especially working outside of music. When I was in school, I got a lot of flack. And I understand the perspective that while you're there, that's what your focus should be. But also, that was how I built my whole business and my livelihood. So I'm glad that I did that.
But also, this is one of the big qualms that I have with music programs in college, specifically performance majors and music education majors, is that they don't teach these business schools, or they throw them into like one seminar as like, this is what you have to do. And they need more than that, And yeah, I still struggle with that concept that doesn't really exist.
There are programs doing a good job. Like, I definitely don't want to paint like
No, right.
all music schools and conservatories and universities have no idea what's going on. That's certainly not the case. It's just been really slow, I think, to catch up, which is frustrating. Like last week, I was presenting at University of Tennessee and Miami of Ohio, UNCSA a couple weeks ago. I am in contact with a lot of these schools that are doing amazing things. South Carolina and North Texas, like there's great music business programs and applicable music skills that universities are building out. But right now, that's the exception, not the norm.
Yeah.
And that's frustrating.
Yeah, for sure.
But it leads to a big old need for you and your business. So there you go. Right? It's yet another part of our industry that you have to be so intensely entrepreneurial, but you don't think you need to be until you get into it. And you're like, oh no, I'm running my own business, or now I'm consulting to help people start their own businesses. We all happen to be music teachers. It's fascinating and so important. And I also didn't know that this was like a COVID era switch. So that also, like, I remember that time when everything was like shifting and changing. And did that just start to happen slowly, that you were helping everybody? What along in the process did you think this is a business versus you just had started doing this when people came to you and were like, help, please?
At no point did I think it was a business. Other people had to tell me that I was running a business and I just wasn't charging any money for it. Which honestly, okay, like it's a great problem to have. Like,
yeah, for sure.
I was even charging for my services for probably about 6 months before I ever posted on my social media that that's what I was doing. Because I had this like really icky feeling in the pit of my stomach. Like, I'm marketing and selling to like my friends and my colleagues. Like, I don't want their money. I don't want that kind of relationship. Like, I just want to be friends with them. So I actually have a hard line. I don't take any of my friends as paying clients. I don't take anyone like in my immediate local area, because I just want to make sure that I'm not like mixing that part of my work. Now, I answer their questions all the time and I create a lot of social media content now and try to help them for free wherever I can and like just give back in that way. But that was something that was really important to me early on. The honest truth of what happened is I actually had this kind of harebrained idea to try to launch an AP music theory course over the summer of 2020, because that was also a huge need. And a lot of students that I was currently teaching at that time, I think by March of 2020, I was sitting at about 46 or 47. I had taken on probably a few more than I should have in January and February of that year. I was a little wild.
So many students.
And I also had a few like friend of a friend that were in like different Asian countries at the time that COVID was launching there. And I had a few people contact me and say, hey, like this is coming. This is coming, right? Like you should be prepared to teach online. And I'd done a little bit of teaching online because I moved a couple times. So I had students that had stuck with me for a while. I felt really confident going into all of that. Like I felt like I had a plan. I had written the emails like 15 different times before anything ever shut down. I had one of my students, her mom was an elementary school teacher. And the Friday of that shutdown, she called me and said, we're not going to be at the lesson today. Here's what's happening. Like this email is going to go out at 5:00 tonight, but I just want you to know now so that if you need to make any plans, you can, which was very generous of her. But I had that email written. So originally I was just like sharing that information or like talking about teaching online. And then in the background, like building up this AP music theory class because my students couldn't take that class at a lot of their schools. They weren't doing sight singing, like that was holding people back. There was a music tech issue for a lot of programs. So it was just kind of on pause. Anyway, I started diving into all of that, and it's a lot of work. Like to build an AP class outside of a school program was not something that was happening regularly at that point. So there were a lot of roadblocks. I put a lot of work and energy and time into it. I was working with my old AP music theory teacher who was helping me with the curriculum and building everything out. And finally I said, I think I need help. Like I need a business coach. I don't really know what I'm doing. And we had a friend that Isaac, my husband, had worked with at one point when we were living in Atlanta. He was working for a digital marketing agency at that time. And we sat down with him and laid everything out. And he said, well, this is great. But Isaac also mentioned that you're doing this other thing, like you're helping musicians to build their studios. And I was like, oh, I mean, yeah, like I'm just helping friends here and there. And he goes, yeah, well, in Isaac's email, like this morning, he told me that you were on Zoom for over 20 hours last week doing that. I'm like, oh, really? I'd be like, I didn't feel like it was that much. I don't know. He's like, the AP music theory class is great, but do you like music theory? And there was a really long, awkward pause because the truth is like, of everything I studied, no, I really don't. Like musicology, I could talk about all day. I love it. Obviously, I love playing my instrument. Not a big fan of theory.
No.
I got through it. So anyway, it was all Isaac and Harry that kind of sat me down finally and said, you have a business. It's time to pivot. And I don't think I would have seen it on my own. Because again, I didn't want to be selling to my friends, you know?
That's amazing. And I think that segues really beautifully into the fact that you've built this online presence, but you've also, in the way that your business is online, but you're building up your social media platforms in a way that I haven't seen music educators really do. And that excites me. So can you talk a little bit about like how you began that process?
Yeah, sure. You know, when I started posting on socials, my first like announcement post telling everyone what I was doing in my life at that point, I think I had like changed my Facebook cover photo. That was the first thing I did. And I wrote this big long-winded copy to go with it, just saying like, big life update. This is what I'm up to. And if anyone's interested, you can just comment this little hashtag or DM me and I'll be happy to help. And the response was overwhelming. Like, I think I had like hundreds of likes on that. And I was not expecting that. I kind of thought, I don't know, when you start posting on social media, I think, or when you start anything new in general, I think there's that little voice in the back of your head saying, A, does anyone care? B, if they care, it can be for the wrong reasons. Like they're judging me, or like there's this little imaginary group in my head of like haters that every time I post are like,
true though.
did you see what she did? Ha 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 ha. What a loser, you know? That still exists, by the way. I'm not totally over that.
I can concur. I have to deal with, it's bad.
So hard. It's so hard. And so I made that post and like I got all these likes and everything. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. No one's mad at me. Like I think I had this narrative in my head that somehow people would be, I don't know, offended or like shocked that I was doing this in some way. In reality, most people see it, and if they like it, they will physically like it or comment. And if they don't, they just keep scrolling. Like I'm never gonna know about it. Maybe they talk smack behind my back. I haven't heard it.
So
if
what?
they are, they're not really my friend. Like
it's noise.
Yeah. And then within a few months, Isaac had kind of suggested a few times that we should start posting things on Instagram. I was not on TikTok at that time. I was not cool enough. And I was game. Like he had to really push for it. But at that time, a lot of Instagram reels were like, it was all trends. Like it was all the voiceover trends that you would mouth along with or like replicate yourself. And I did that for probably like 3 or 4 months. I would post maybe 3 times a week. And I set out this challenge for myself to try it. And usually what that meant was Isaac would come into my studio space with me when I was done teaching for the night, and we would record for about an hour. That stuff is so hard, like to match up the mouthing of the words and like make it seem legit. Like I am not an actress. That is not my background. And I hated it. Like we would record, we'd probably get one done and I would be on the verge of tears. I'm like, this doesn't feel like me. I'm not enjoying myself. Like I can't get it right. It's glitching. Like it's so obnoxious. I don't want to do this anymore. So eventually we stopped doing some of that. Like I got a little bit of that courage built up to start just posting my own original thoughts and words, not just copying what had been done before. And that was really where things have taken off more. Go figure, when you're like actually yourself, people want to follow you. But it took me a little while to get there for sure.
I love that. You ask questions and have polls, and it's very engaging and fun.
Thank you. Thank you. One of my favorite things to do is just respond to comments. Like I did, I think maybe 3 or 4 of those this afternoon. And when someone says something that I think is interesting or asks a follow-up question on a post that I make, just like hitting that little reply by video button and recording something to react back to them. I love that. It feels like an actual conversation. Like I'm not just making content and screaming into the void, but
connection.
It's a little bit more of the back and forth.
That occurs to me too, something that's really beautiful across your whole journey, getting really high level, that I think has led to a lot of this, is I feel like you have really embraced just kind of this abundance mindset, kind of wanting to spread it around. This is something that is worth spreading. The money part of it is almost an afterthought. And it has worked out very well for you rather than treating it like a scarce commodity. And so that, I feel like, is just such a beautiful way to go about this. And it's almost a leap of faith, but I think you just did it. And what a beautiful case study that just by having an open heart with music and music education and all of this can lead to just a really beautiful kind of holistic career in it.
Thank you. I mean, I definitely feel that way. One of my core values is I do think everything that I'm teaching, I think for the most part, people could figure out themselves. Like I don't hold the secret sauce by any means. It's just laying it out in a way that's a little bit easier to understand and more duplicatable so you don't have to try and experiment as much. But because of that, why would I gatekeep information? Let's say I'm making a TikTok video. Like last night in my studio, I literally did this, explaining the 3 main things that I think every studio teacher needs to have in order to grow a successful studio: a profitable lesson package, a predictable source of students, and a repeatable enrollment process. I talk about those things all the time. When I talk about those things, I will give it all away. I will talk about all of it because if someone is consistent enough to go back through all of my content and watch all of those videos and learn it themselves and apply it for free, that is so impressive. Absolutely, please go do that. That's why it's there. You probably could get the majority of my information by watching my last 3 years worth of content. It's probably all pretty much built in there. But the other part of it is some people don't want just the information. They want someone else to guide them and help them prioritize their time and hold them accountable. And I'm so happy to be that. I mean, that's what our team is here for at this point. So no, there's no gatekeeping. I'm not trying to shield information, because a lot of what I have learned in business and in marketing has been either trial by fire of getting marketing jobs and flailing my way through them in the beginning, or consuming social media content and free content and reading books and trying to figure out how to do it myself.
Yes.
That's amazing. I love it. And then going off of Steph, this idea of abundance and wanting to share your gift to the world, you also have a podcast.
Passion project.
That you've dubbed as a passion project.
Woo! Yeah.
So talk about that. I'd love to learn more about where that came from.
It honestly was born out of frustration. Everything we were talking about a moment ago with music school. I'm glad that I was in a unique position where I had marketing background and could figure this stuff out myself. I'm very, very thankful for that. I also feel like it's a unique experience to leave music school and feel like you have the skill set to go and make it on your own. And that stinks. That really stinks. And I had this awakening at my first NAMM show, which this would have been the June show in 2021. I had to think about that for a second.
Oh, that was your first NAMM.
That was my first one.
First January NAMM.
Yes, which I'm very excited. We will definitely talk about that.
Anyway, okay, we'll circle back. But wow,
I can't wait, you guys. I'm so excited. And I have a longer history with NAMM, which we will definitely talk about in a second too. But that first NAMM show, I was sitting in presentations with other music educators and I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I know Brian Kai Chin, who at the time, I think he's moved since then. He was based in Seattle. Anyway, I was sitting in these presentations with educators who were talking about awesome ideas, like how we can get more information in the hands of our music students and how we can help them build more careers and help more people stay in music. And I was like, this is amazing. And I came home and I was like, this is crap. We're sitting in these rooms having these wonderful theoretical conversations, but most of the room is not university professors and decision makers that can actually make these changes.
Yeah.
And that is not acceptable by my standards. And also the people that are there that are from the universities, it's not students. Like they're also still not there learning that information. They have no idea this exists. How do we disperse more of that? So like that first NAMM show, I was making a whole bunch of social media content because like, this is awesome. Like I'm learning so much and I want everyone to know. And I'm like posting everything on my stories and trying to like recap all the presentations that Isaac and I went to. But then I got home and was so annoyed that this wasn't more publicly available. Like all these career journeys, all these people that I'm meeting that are in aspects and areas of the music industry I just didn't even know existed. You go to music school and it's like you perform, you compose, you teach, you learn about your musicology and your music theory, and they send you on your way. Maybe a little pedagogy in there somewhere, maybe some kind of discussion about getting jobs in music or like nonprofit work and arts management. There's no conversation about working for retailers and manufacturers, at least not in the music schools that I went to.
There are only a handful of schools that have specific
Yes.
programs for music products, like Crane in Potsdam.
And I went to these presentations and we're talking about how we can keep musicians in the music industry. And I'm like, downstairs are thousands and thousands and thousands of people who work in the music industry. And a lot of them have no musical background, meaning there's so much opportunity and money and career opportunity in the music industry that other people are actively leaving other career fields and industries to come work here. I'm getting really passionate about this. I'm sorry. It makes me so mad.
Oh my God, no apologies. This is exactly that.
I just get so like worked up about this because I had a conversation today with a music school owner who just opened a location in New York, and she's opening a second location, and she has no music background. She just saw genuinely that there was an opportunity here for a lot of revenue and to help a lot of people, and saw this business plan and was like, I can do that. Now, we were talking about some of the gaps that she might not know because she's not a musician. And that's where I come in and trying to help frame everything and make sure like we're paying our teachers really well. So we're retaining them and you're attracting quality talent and your students are really happy. And how do we sell the process and create social proof around a brand new school when you're not a musician or an educator yourself? We're having these great conversations. And then I left and I was like, well, hold up a second. Again, if other people are taking out like massive funding to invest in a business in the music industry, why are my colleagues leaving their music programs and saying, there's no way to make a living income. I have to go, I have to go take a desk job or an office job. I have to go do other things, like not even at all in the music industry. I had a colleague post last week that she took a job at an optometrist's office. And I'm glad she found a good fit. I'm not diminishing that in any way. She's a fantastic violinist. Like she absolutely should be finding opportunities in the industry. And I get really frustrated by that. So all that to say, I have a podcast.
Yes.
The podcast.
Yes.
Is where I interview people about their career journeys, like how they have made it. And it's like the whole thing from beginning to end. We dive into like the little nitty-gritty details on how did they find that opportunity? How did they land that job? Who introduced them to that person? Like how did they put the tiny little puzzle pieces together to make it what they have now? And I call it my little career handbook for musicians. It's completely a passion project. I don't monetize it in any way. I just want it to be out there for musicians and students that are trying to figure this out now, so they're not like winging it the way that I did.
Hell yeah.
It's so fantastic. I mean, and it occurs to me too that this is something that all of music, the music industry itself, it's so rare that there is any straightforward linear career path.
Oh yeah.
And that's still something that we aren't exposed to, even people that are not in the music industry, right? I think most things you want a linear, you just expect, you enter a company and you work your way up kind of thing. And I think just pairing this idea with what you're giving, which is tangible examples, right? You're never going to hear exactly what you're going to do, but you're going to puzzle together from these millions of different things what to do. But without access to these stories, you have no idea. It's just this blank, terrifying slate, and people will leave because it's scary and you don't think that there's a life in it, but you are showing people that the million ways that there is, and it helps people be brave.
And that's why we did the session at the NAMM Show that we did last year, because
which you covered so wonderfully, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you. My favorite photos and content.
I loved a presentation last year. It was fantastic. That session was so good.
We'll get ready because we're doing a part 2.
I will be there.
Yeah.
Help me in.
But we wanted to bring something that was tangible, something that people could like physically work on like at the show and then take that and run with it as they're experiencing the NAMM show, and then they go home and then they can use that.
And it compounds.
Yeah, it's just kind of a snowball effect because it's so important that you want to be able that you're providing people content that they can take and then run with themselves.
Yes. And look, I think NAMM does a great job of this already. Like there are so many educational sessions there. The sessions that they're accepting are things that are very, very specific. Like there's not just a lot of theoretical fluff that's floating around there. And I'm not saying that I'm not disparaging other conferences or presentations by any means, but I mean, I'm just saying that the NAMM show is really great at that educational piece of it. I also really appreciate that the networking aspect of that experience is so strong. Like there are so many opportunities to find those places in the industry that you might not otherwise see. I mean, I sat in a presentation last year with someone who her entire business is doing influencer marketing and collaborations between brands and music influencers. Like completely.
I know exactly who it was too.
Tay is so cool. Okay, yes. It was one of the most amazing things I've ever said, and I had no idea this existed. Like, I mean, I'm on social media. I know that there are influencers. Obviously, I know that a lot of the things that they talk about and bigger accounts are talking about, they are paid for. I don't totally understand how all of that works. I've had some like small brand deals in the past, but they're always things that, again, I'm really passionate about. So it's a complete fit.
Yeah,
I've never had things that like people have cold approached me, and I've never said yes to those because I don't really know what I'm getting into. I'm also a smaller account, and that's not really my game here on social media. That's not what I'm trying to do. But when I saw that presentation and I'm hearing like firsthand numbers and data and clear details about what that process is, it's helpful for my frame of reference. It's helpful if that's something that I want to apply to my own business and my own work. Also, when my clients ask me about that, because we have clients that have huge social media followings, I actually know what to say now. And usually what I'm saying is, oh, I think you should check out Taya's website and here's her information. But at least I have more frame of reference for that. So it's really helpful to have that opportunity. When I was in school, though, I could not have been traveling that distance. Like I was working in marketing to pay for my schooling for a reason. I needed that funding. So I didn't have that cushion, that backing to be making big trips like that or setting aside time for conferences. It didn't really occur to me to allocate my time and resources there either. So having something that's more flexible, like a podcast, it just means that students can find it, or anyone at any stage of their career can find it. And I know both of you guys have shifted careers recently and have changes coming up too. And it's something that we have to be open to. Like you were saying, Steph, it's not a linear journey. So you have to just know what else is out there so you can actually find the resources and the things that you're most passionate about.
Yes. Open to it, open about exactly what you're doing. As you're sharing everything, we have to be open to it, and we all have to share it too. Like it's just, we all need to also know, as you are already doing, this is more like a self thing for everybody other than you, Kelly, because you're already doing this. Like pay it forward and share our own journeys because there's something in it for people. It matters. I feel like people might think, oh, why would anybody want to hear about my path or my story? But there's something in it for everybody.
Well, when I talk to university students, like in those presentations last week, they're asking questions that I can't answer because they're asking about areas of the industry that I don't have an expertise in. Like I had a student ask me about film scoring. We put 15 minutes on the calendar and we were talking about some internships and opportunities they had. And at the end of it, I'm like, man, this is great. And also my reference on this is like so teeny tiny. This is not my background. Let me introduce you to my friend. This is what she does full time. Like this is her thing. She'll be a great resource for you. But even those connections I'm maintaining because of social media. Like that friend, I know what she's doing because she's posting all the time. So the more you share, it's not only helping to build your brand and help you get more jobs, but it also means that we can connect with each other so that we're bringing, in my frame of reference, like bringing the right people up, the people who are the most excited and passionate about the work in the industry. If you're more vocal about it and they're able to like follow your content and be really engaged with it, by helping them, we're bringing people who are truly, truly excited about that mission, that journey, whatever you're excited about too, as opposed to people who like accidentally find themselves there. That may not be a good or a bad thing, but if people are passionate, like let's help them get there. It's going to make everyone better.
Yeah. Believe it or not, everyone has their own personal brand.
Yes, they do.
Boom.
Yes, they do. Whether you know it, whether you know what your brand is or not.
Or you want to admit it.
Exactly. I know. I was just thinking, this is why it would be so rad to do another episode if we were to bring you back, Kelly, to talk about the emotional parts of all of this, right? Like, it's okay to have a brand. What I was thinking when you were talking about that is that for me, it's that inclination of I don't want to look like I'm trying too hard. That's why I don't. And you had different internal feelings about that than I did. And it would be so interesting to just sit down and talk about positivizing. It's not the right word, but through personal
We can make
brand
it
and
work.
social as part of that, because we need to do it. But
Yep.
there's a million reasons. Everybody has their own unique reason of why they don't want to do it. So let's talk about it more one day because it's a big thing.
There's a content creator on TikTok and Instagram that I love and I follow, and her name's Anna Vitoni, and she has dedicated her whole life to teaching people how to build their own personal brands. So if you're interested in that, like, check her out because
Mm-hmm.
I think she does a really beautiful job on like learning how to break that wall down so like you don't feel ashamed and anxious on what you want to post and how personal you want to get and all that stuff. So side note.
Her
Just
videos
throw
are also
that out
just
there.
beautiful anyway. Shout
Oh
out
my
to
gosh, she's so good. Yeah.
I don't follow her. I'm gonna have to.
You have to
check
follow
out.
her.
That's
It's a good
awesome.
time. It's a good time.
You know, I think when we talk about on a high level, whether it's trying something new, whether it's launching a new business, whether it's making a career jump, whether it's posting on social media, whatever you're sharing or whatever you're working on, I describe to our clients a lot that it's a tolerance thing. Like we're building up this tolerance for our fear of failure, our fear and anxieties around what other people think of us and the risks that we're taking. So when we start, our tolerance might be like this tiny little saucer that every single time you do something new, like every time I posted one of those crappy voiceover reels, I was bottoming out on the saucer because I didn't have much in the reserves anyway. Over time, it's a cereal bowl and then it's a mixing bowl, and it just keeps growing and growing and growing so that eventually you're just skimming off the top every time.
Oh my
So now when I
God,
try
so
something new, like on TikTok, my rule is I will try anything 3 times. Like the first time I try it, it might just not be good. Like objectively, I'm trying something new for the first time. It's okay. I got to give myself grace. The second time, still learning and refining. The third time, if it still doesn't really take off, or my audience and the people that are seeing that content aren't really vibing with what I'm putting out there, then I can put that to bed and try something else now. But if it's working and after 3 times I'm getting some good results, I'll keep doing that. And a good recent example is, like, full disclosure, I was probably like a glass or 2 of wine in on a Saturday night, and I was sitting on my patio with Isaac, and I was like, ha ha ha, I made this meme. And he's like,
Yeah.
you've never made a meme before. And I was like, yeah, but it's Taylor Swift. Like it's this little like cap cut thing of her like walking away and then turning around and like pointing at someone. And she like looks all excited. I think it's from one of the recent concerts. I don't know what she was reacting to, but doesn't matter. It was a cap cut template. I took a picture of my studio and I put that over the top. And I think the caption was something like, you know, when your friend appears in the tiny practice room window. And I posted it. I was very proud of myself. I've never thought of a meme before in my life. I thought it was so funny. And Isaac's like, you know, Isaac's not a musician. So he's like, yeah, like that looks good. I guess you can post it if you want.
I don't know. It hits differently when you're in that space.
It is my biggest video of all time. I think it has like 110 views on TikTok. It's at almost 900,000 on Instagram. Like,
oh my gosh.
It just blew up. And it's just this like silly little thing that I did. Okay, so now I'm finding I actually like doing this. So I've been posting more of these. Like we have other videos that I put out there like that. And like, yeah, they're silly and they're not like educational, earth-shattering content by any means, but like that relatability is really important. And a lot of the people that I'm talking to are just out of music school or like early in their careers where a lot of those things still hit if we're talking about these shared experiences. So I like putting out that content. It's something that my audience likes to see. It's just a really different way of creating content than I ever thought I would be.
Yeah.
So the first time I posted it, I was like, man, my friends are going to think this is so dumb. Like, I hope nobody judges me for this one. I've never made a meme before, but like, what the heck, why not? And then it, you know, obviously just
People loved it.
soared. But you got to try it and then you have to try more. It's not just once. It's that repetition that really builds the tolerance over time.
Absolutely.
You saying that reminded me of this. I had in the back of my mind, I wanted to ask you. There is a lot of emotional labor you do with this work that I think we are not thinking of usually or trained in either, as well as the business entrepreneurial side of things. Right. You just described that. And I was like, that's a therapy session. That's a coaching session. That's beautiful. And so Do you have any tips for people that are hearing that and are like, oh, I'm doing this and maybe I'm exhausted after the end of the day? Like,
Mhm.
how do you kind of hold space for this? How do you process this other emotional literacy and labor that you're doing with your clients other than like the business marketing stuff when it's been useful for you?
Good question.
Really good
Thanks.
question. This is something I'm still working on, to be really honest. It's a really important part of my work and it's something that I really value in my work. It's also something that I think, and at the Women of NAMM Summit, when I did all my
Yeah, that's
skill
where we're going
assessments and
next. So
everything,
there we go.
definitely something that came up on a lot of my assessments that I do care. Like I care a lot about the people that I work with. And we've worked with hundreds of studios in the last 3 years. And I could sit and list all of them for you. And I could probably give you personal fun facts about all of them too, because I know my clients so well. And for a long time, that was only fulfilling and exciting to build those relationships. And then as I had that with 50, 75, 100 people that were coming to me and asking for that emotional side of me and that
Mhm.
coaching side of me to give guidance and to hear the stresses that are happening in their lives and the things that are impacting their ability to build their business, their ability to build their career because of all the personal things that we're working through on the side, it's increasingly become a challenge for me because it is a lot of drain. It really is. We create a lot of training around this. We have a mindset and personal growth section in all of our training material for new clients that we have them go through pretty early. I have a 2-page list of affirmations that I've written up for all of them to kind of cherry pick through to try to apply to their lives. But a lot of what we talk about is why are we reacting this way? Like you got that email and you feel really negative about it. Why do we feel negative about it? What is informing that initial emotional reaction of, gosh, I think this person, like this parent or the student, must not like me because they're frustrated? How else can we reframe that? What other possibilities are there? And how can we build that tolerance so that the next time we get an email that feels a little stressful or a question in our business that feels like it could be directed at us personally, how do we grow beyond those
Mhm.
feelings and process faster? Things that have helped me to kind of build those skills and also build my own tolerance. I do a lot of reading. I make sure that I'm kind of up to date on other methodologies for that. There's a great book called Everything is Figure Outable by Marie Forleo that I adore. And I use a lot of her examples with my students and with my clients. It's something I recommend to all of my clients too. There's tons of other book recommendations I can give, but like that's one that I have read several times because it really stands out to me. And I try to make sure that I'm leading by example. Like I have a support system myself. So when I have that emotional input coming in and I need a place to put it, I'm not dumping it on Isaac. I'm not dumping it on my family. I'm able to talk to a counselor to work through some of those things and make sure that I'm processing things in a healthy way and not counter transferring any of my like personal stresses and emotions on our clients. And then our team has grown. That's helped a lot too. One of our coaches is a certified life coach. So when people have these
Love that.
big questions now, it's not just me and my current frame of reference and understanding that's helping and supporting them. We have a whole team of amazing musicians that bring a lot of other things to the table that have successful studios themselves that are giving advice and information and supporting them and building out materials for them. And that's been a huge change for us in the last year is that it's not just Isaac and I and an assistant anymore. We've got, I think in total, there are 7 of us now that are
Love
working with
that.
Outside the Box. So it's a
Amazing.
great buffer for me too. Like it's not just my personal brand and my face anymore that people are seeing all the time. Within the program, there's a lot of other tools and resources, and it's not just solely relying on me because how I say something might not be how someone else needs to receive it.
Oh, amazing.
Okay, we
Therapy.
We're
can.
getting there.
Yeah. Oh, it's so beautiful.
So you just did the Women of NAMM Summit, the Leadership Summit out at the NAMM headquarters. So talk to us about that because you're coming in from a different perspective. And I just want to emphasize this. Like you are an entrepreneur, you are your own business owner, which exists obviously in the NAMM member community if you're looking at the traditional like retailer manufacturer mindset. But with this new individual membership that has been created for educators and those entrepreneurs themselves to come and attend and be members of NAMM, I think your perspective is really important to highlight.
Yeah. And actually, Outside the Box is a NAMM member very proudly. So our
Yay!
company is a whole member. So it's not just me, although I previously was attending the show as an educator before I had applied for that. So in 2021, I think my first show I attended as an educator. You know, the Women of NAMM Summit y'all sold it as like this life-changing opportunity experience. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure. Like I have a healthy dose of skepticism on everything. So I was super excited about it, but going into it was definitely like cautiously optimistic. And when I filled out the application and when I was filling out all the pre-work and the homework that we had and all the questions that Dr. Hall had asked, I just kept feeling like it was more than I thought it was. Like, I don't know how else to describe it. Like, I think I had it in my head, like, yeah, I'm going to get some leadership coaching. And then I started to fill out these forms and all the questions and everything. I'm like, this is a lot deeper than just leadership coaching. Like, these are intense questions. And I'm glad, like, I'm glad we're getting deeper with this because the more I'm doing this homework and the more work around it, I'm getting more excited. By the time I got there, I was terrified, like in the best way possible.
Same.
Like, I know I'm kind of an anomaly, possibly. Like, I'm a business owner. I don't work in manufacturing. I don't work in retail. I have in the past. My first job was an internship at Heartland Music and working with Ellen and Larry McDonald. And I was a GUARD scholarship winner from NAMM Foundation when I was in high school and college. So I was familiar with some of this programming through the NAMM Show and everything, but I had not had hands-on training ever. And I was also a little bit afraid to be in a room with people that I knew I didn't understand what they did necessarily, and they might understand what I do. That's a hard place to be. It definitely is outside the comfort zone. What I walked away with, though, was a complete shift in worldview. And I feel like the hands-on coaching training and opportunities to apply and grow my coaching skills have not only benefited my clients, for sure, but have benefited our team. I felt like I was able to work through some roadblocks that I had on projects that I was excited about but scared of, so I've been procrastinating on for a long time. One of those is that Outside the Box for a long time has had requests to do live events and not just all virtual training, which sounds amazing, but like a lot of work and a lot of planning and marketing and energy and effort. So I've just been putting it off and putting it off. And that gave me the courage to actually sit down and start planning those things and putting like pen to paper and contacting people and putting pieces into place. It's also given me the ability to delegate in a lot more healthy way and look at the list and not say, what can I delegate, but give my team the list and say, who wants what? Like, where are your skills? What do you guys want to take on? How can I guide you and support you in this? What skills do you think you have, but you want to keep growing? And how could these opportunities and things on the list help grow that for you? And a lot of that is letting go for me. Like, yes, I'm the business owner. It's my brand and it has been for so long. The original website before it was Outside the Box was kellyriordan.com. Like, it is me. It has been me for a long time. That's wonderful, but also I need my business to not feel like my child because it's a full-grown adult. It's been in existence now for 3.5 years. It has a life of its own. If I keep trying to baby it and control it all myself and be involved in every single aspect, I'm getting in the way at this point. So it's important to me to have that skill set building and also have direct feedback from my team on how I can improve on doing that and how they want to be managed so that we can get there together.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. It was awesome. And thank you guys again for the encouragement to apply because it was outstanding. It really was. Dr. Jen
She's the best.
Intelligent and smart. I don't even know how to describe her. That's scratching the surface. That feels like such an understatement, but it was an awesome, awesome opportunity. It really was.
I'm so glad. I'm so happy that you did it and you got that perspective.
I love that how you said delegating as who wants what versus what do I not want to do. Let's just highlight that because that's beautiful. And I would love to have been asked that a bunch over the course of my career. I don't ever have. So well done.
Well, and it's funny when I turned the list over of like, okay, we're going to plan live events. Here's what I think goes into it. What else do I not know? I talked about one of our coaches, Alyssa, who's a certified life coach. She's gone to a lot of in-person training events, a lot more than I have. So the perspective is completely different. Now, I'm not saying that I wouldn't have asked her, but I probably would not have had the foresight early in the process to say, like, here's my general plan and outline and thought. Please give me feedback. Like, this is a sketch. This is not the end all be all. And I want you to tell me what's good and bad about this. And I want you to give me other perspectives and ideas because I don't know what I don't know. And I say that a lot. And I'm very comfortable saying to my clients, that is an excellent question. Let me find you an answer. I don't know right now. Like, I'm totally fine saying that on a day-to-day basis. But I also have a hard time with finding limitations of not just I don't know, but I don't know how to. That part I struggle with. Like I'm gonna find a way to make it happen. I'm going to find that information myself. I'm not gonna ask for resources. I'm just gonna go muscle it and
I'm
make it
literally
happen.
struggling with this right now.
It's really hard. It's really
So
hard. And I'm not saying the summit like fixed that in me, but it was a great opportunity for me to fully reflect on the fact that I do that. And there was a great moment. I don't know if you did the exact same activities and things, but there's a little note card activity where they were all in a T shape.
Oh my
We had
gosh.
to switch spots.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So it was basically like a human puzzle. And we get to the end and we solve it. And we're all sitting down talking about it. And Dr. Jen's just kind of asking for like thoughts and input and how did we work through it. And we're talking about communication styles and coaching skills. And everyone else in the room is like, that was great. We worked together. We solved it. It was amazing. And I was getting more and more agitated. I was like, I'm like frustrated right now. I don't know what is wrong with me. Like why everyone else is happy. And honestly, I like feel pretty pissed off. Like I don't know what is happening.
Did you
Finally, I
voice
raised
that?
my hand.
Good
Yeah.
for
And I was
you.
like, I don't know why, but I'm not happy right now. Like I'm very frustrated. So we dig into it a little bit more. And finally, I was able to find and voice that if we try to do that again right now and I had to tell you how to solve it, I couldn't tell you. I could not duplicate what we just did on my own. And I like, that's not okay. Like, yeah, we got there, but I couldn't tell you how it happened. And one of the other summit attendees who I had really hit it off with, Monique Collins of Buffet Crampon, who is just a gem of a human being, and I absolutely adore her. She spoke up, and she's the financial controller for Buffet, and we'd been talking about some of the things that I'm kind of, working through and running a business, coming from a musical background, and kind of, again, trial by fire on the business finance side of things. And she finally spoke up, and she's like, I think this is kind of like what we were talking about at dinner last night, that you don't have to do everything yourself. You don't have to know the answers. You don't have to know how it all happens.
Wow.
That is why you have a team. And she said it a lot more eloquently and had a lot better information to add to that. But the group was so supportive.
Wow.
And I got emotional in response to that. And Jenna Day of Day Violins comes and scoots over to me and puts her arm around me. And like everyone is just so supportive in that environment, which I'm sorry, what a leadership seminar are you going to get that at? That's not a women's group. Like that kind of support system is why we have Women of NAMM. It's why we have women specific organizations. So we have safe spaces to have these conversations. It was outstanding. But the other part of that is I now have accountability. Like I have people that know that that's my struggle, that know that I'm trying to manage everything myself and can keep up with me on that and check in. And they have. And we have had those conversations since the summit because it's not only what I'm trying to work on, but they have goals too. And if we all know what the other's goals are, then we can help find resources and support each other and stay on it so that we're all achieving them together. And that was a really exciting thing that I did not think I was going to walk away with from that summit.
That does transition to just the idea and the concept of the importance of women in music and women in music education. And I want to touch on the women in music education aspect of it because I think that is a side of the music industry that is a little slow to adapt that mindset. So I would love your thoughts.
I love that.
I have a lot of thoughts. When I look back at my teachers and educators that I worked with, the ones that were the most impactful for me, and I don't want to overgeneralize or diminish the relationships that I've had with male mentors, but a lot of them have been female. And I think it's a natural attachment that we tend to form. Like you want to see people that reflect yourself and your vision of yourself doing the things that you love and are excited about. Yeah. So it's definitely something that makes complete sense. Like, why would you want to be in a room of all women? Or why do we need Women of NAMM? Or like, why do we need Women Entrepreneurship Week and not just like Entrepreneurship Week? Why do we have to separate it out? Well, a lot of it is because the opportunities don't exist. Like the knowledge and the examples and the modeling is so hard to find yourself. And I will say that social media is helping this. Like there are a lot of incredible female entrepreneurs and women in the music industry that are very visible, and that definitely helps. but more of the visibility is still around men. Now, when I was in school, I had a few instances where male professors said things to me that were very inflammatory just because I was a woman. And the music education industry as a whole is frustrating. I mean, it's no secret. Just run a Google search and look at all the sexual assault cases that are happening and all of the negative press around what's happening. There are calls in the UK to just completely get rid of one-on-one instruction at the university level.
I
It's
didn't know
bad.
that.
It's bad.
Wow.
It should not be that way. Like, it definitely should not be that way, but we are going down this path where we're at a crossroads, I think, a little bit in music education. When you look at university, it's about 50-50. About half of the student body is male, half of the student body is female. And I'm obviously making a lot of overgeneralizations because I'm not speaking about our non-binary friends right now, and I apologize for that. But if we go at its core, it is roughly half and half. There's a lot of equal representation of all gender identities in music school. You get out of school, and it completely falls apart at the seams. Instructors, and if you talk about faculty, it's not a lot of women. It's significantly fewer women, especially when we're talking about like musicology and composition and music theory. Sometimes on individual instruments, we can trend in certain ways, but I was the first female graduate student in my clarinet studio in grad school, and from what I was told by other female professors, in over 10 years.
What?
For clarinet, like that's normally a pretty well-represented instrument. That's alarming. And that's not specific to one school. I'm saying that this is a big issue. We get out of that undergraduate level and things kind of break down. All that to say, I have so much respect for the professors and for the faculty that I worked with that were voicing those concerns and were trying to help support students, again, of every gender identity and trying to support everyone to bring them all up. But there's only so much they can do from their position. And so when we get out of school, part of what I'm passionate about is like, how can we increase that visibility on whole in the industry? Like not just in music education, not just in private music lesson teachers, not just in faculty at the higher education level. How can we make sure that our students are seeing people who look like them doing the things they want to do with their life? And part of why I'm more motivated to be active on social media is because of that. I'm not saying that I'm like the most diverse human on the entire planet because I'm definitely still a white woman, but it's important to me that if other female clarinetists are seeing my journey and they're seeing that it is possible to make a full-time, very livable income in music, that I'm impacting them in some way to achieve their goals and their dreams and inspiring them in some way, shape, or form. Like that is so key to me. And it's uncomfortable because I don't mean to like get on a soapbox and harp on this. I'm not trying to say that men are not helping in this situation. Obviously, that is not the case. But historically, it's been more of a challenge. And it's on all of us to make sure that we're, giving more opportunities to others in the industry so that we can lift all of them up.
Hear, hear. Beautifully said. That was really beautifully said.
Thank you. I want to add one other thought when we're talking about the studios and the work that I get to do. I had this wonderful opportunity to pick the studios that we work with and make sure that it's truly an aligned fit. And so the studios teachers that I work with are passionate, wonderfully qualified, very, very supportive and kind people. I have had people tell me I'm only in it for the money. Those are not clients I say yes to. That's not why we're here. Not saying that you can't make money, you certainly can, but that's not the goal. And in doing that, I also feel like part of this legacy that we're building Outside the Box with myself and our whole team is that we are impacting and empowering studios from all backgrounds and all walks of life and all musicians from all walks of life to then positively impact hundreds of their own students. So before I used to teach, and it was my own 43 to 46 students, which is amazing. And now we're impacting thousands of studios and students around the world. And that is something that is still like blowing my mind on a daily basis when I get on TikTok Live and there's someone from Australia chiming in and asking questions. That's just like shocking. But it's such a really, really cool, unique part of what we get to do. And social media has really helped to make that happen too.
And thank you for being a model, just because it's so important for music educators to be the source of inspiration for the up and coming generation of music makers. So thank you for putting that passion out into the world.
You're doing it well.
Oh, I have not always. I'm gonna be really honest. Like as I build my career more and like build more of a platform, I definitely get more vocal about this stuff because I think earlier in my career, I know earlier in my career, there were opportunities where I could have said the right thing, where I could have spoken up, where I could have made an impact. And instead, because I didn't know what my career was going to look like or what kind of platform I was going to have, I just didn't. Or I like complained behind closed doors and never actually went to the right people to make the right changes. I have regrets about that for sure. Like I definitely wish that I had spoken up sooner. And I think that's part of why I talk about this stuff a lot more now. It's also why on my social media I just talk about what is broken in the higher music education system right now. But I also know that now me needed those past experiences to be a little bit more vocal. So
Yes.
even though I regret that I didn't speak up then, I'm glad that I had those experiences. And I'm glad that I'm able to have a platform, however small, to say something that other people need to hear and to impact some kind of change. But when you're seeing something that's happening, whether it's in the workplace or whether it's in education or even in social circles, and it just feels off, having the confidence and the tact to approach that situation and to help make change is important. And so in any small way that we can, it definitely does take all of us to make sure that we're lifting the whole group up and not just one individual at a time.
Beautifully said.
Yeah.
Oh, what a way to wrap it.
Yeah.
I know. Oh.
We have to ask one final question. Steph, do you want to do the honors?
one fun little one. Tell us a little bit about what you do when you are not doing your work. Like, let's bring it out of the business mindset. And we talked about this. You call them your fixations, right? Like, what are you fixating on right now? What outside of the business is lighting you up?
You know, it's definitely fixation. I also do this in my music listening. Like I will get into like a certain album or even a song and I will like listen to it on repeat.
Same.
Can't let it go.
Yep.
So current fixations. Oh, okay. Taylor Swift is always a fixation. Like absolutely love Taylor Swift.
Yes.
Love her music. I'm seeing her in Sweden. Isaac and I had a trip planned. So I happened to procure tickets because he told me that I could get them if I bought them at face value and specified nothing about location. So poor Isaac. So that's always a fixation. Romance novels are a fixation right now.
Yes.
Yoga. Natalie and I have been talking about this.
Yeah.
I am so obsessed with yoga right now. Like I can't let it go. So that's been my like multi-day a week project. And I've been doing some like online sessions with a teacher that I really liked that moved away. It's been outstanding. And then walking my dog, and it's getting colder in Wisconsin. So that's going to have to pause soon. Our walks won't be an hour. They're going to be 10 minutes maybe. So probably more time for yoga than anything else these days.
Love yoga.
Okay, I also tried Aquafit for the first time 2 weeks ago, and I feel like a grandma, but I'm obsessed with it. It's amazing.
What is that?
Is it like water aerobics?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh.
I definitely feel like a grandma, and I am absolutely the youngest person in the class, but I'm into it.
I've done this once, and I loved every minute of it. I did this with my mom once.
It feels
Did
so
you
good.
really? Oh my God.
It was so fun because also in
Does
water,
it
like,
not
I can
just
do anything.
Yes, like you just feel so loose. Does it not feel so freeing too? Like to just, I mean, at the end of class, I'll have you like float, and I just feel so happy and I don't know, chill.
Yeah.
It's been great. So
Oh my God,
I'm
I
going
love
again
this.
on Saturday.
That's amazing.
I love all of this so much.
Shout out to my friend Megan for suggesting it. It's been great.
Yeah, thanks,
Ugh.
Megan. I want to do that. I want to do that really, really badly.
Kelly, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. This
Was such a beautiful conversation that I just needed to hear and witness tonight.
Oh my gosh.
You're doing
Thank
great
you.
work. We're lucky to have you in this industry.
Oh, you guys are glorious. Thank you again for inviting me. And I'm so glad that we got to chat more and get into the weeds a little bit more. This has been a lot of fun. Thank you.
To many more, hopefully. I have so many like
Absolutely.
sidebar episodes I want to do with all of us now. So
I know.
we'll get to.
Love it.
Thanks again.
Yes.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening to this episode of ReVoicing the Future. You can subscribe to the podcast on all major streaming platforms or visit our website. Be sure to follow us on social media to stay up to date on all things Women of NAMM. This episode was co-produced and edited by Natalie Morrison, Stephanie Lavand, and Julia Olson. Together, we can help shape the future of our industry, one interval at a time. See you next time.